Campera was our third race of the championship.
Campera is the shortest racetrack in the calendar, with a lap time of under 1 minute. This track is mostly characterized by slow and medium speed corners.
For this race, we actually went in the counterclockwise direction.
First up, it was Vasco's turn. That's me, by the way.
Before he started to race, he decided to furiously test those pedals.
After that, I got some tips from the team. Then more tips. And then even more tips that just kept on coming. So I decided to run away and start the race.
He had a pretty good start from P2, only dropping down to P4 in the first corner. Despite the pressure from the pilots behind, he was able to keep his position. Please do keep in mind that we are used to fighting for the last positions of the grid, so being P4 is like a dream come true. After the first lap, he still managed to keep his P4 position, which is pretty impressive.
The pressure was piling up from behind, with faster drivers making more and more aggressive moves, but fortunately, everything turned out okay. Some may say I spun due to the pressure, but if you look closely, you can clearly see me getting fatally hit from behind. This ruined my race, so I decided to hop out of the car in the pit and let João fix my mess.
What followed was the slowest ever recorded pit stop in the history of karting. Just look at how many tips Guilherme was giving Vasco, not realizing that he was actually not going to race in the second half. After that was probably the worst and longest charades game ever, with Vasco failing to understand I wanted the cervical protection. But why did it actually take this long, you wonder? I was posing for our camera crew to get some flashy behind the scenes for you guys. We hope you like it.
Starting from P-last, there was not much João could have done. Instead of being just at the back, João decided he wanted to be a part of this race, so he decided to hold up one of the leaders. After a few moments, another leader joined, and now he was holding up the first and second in the placement. This was an amazing moment, and thank God there are no blue flags in this league, otherwise we would get disqualified. This got on for an entire lap until João eventually decided to let the leaders pass and have their race. After that, he got to learn their lines, but this is an amazing achievement for us. We were with the leaders for a while. Thank God there's no blue flags. So for a second, let's pretend he was racing them. Now going into turn 3, he was very tight line into the chicane, but he managed to hold them up. Into the straight, this is one of the main overtaking points of the race. He managed to hold them up, no overtaking attempt here, but João braked a little earlier than the rest. Tried to defend to the inside with another driver going to the outside, but no way they could pass him. He was too slow and unpredictable. He then goes into the double apex left-hand corner where the drivers were trying to find all the lines they could, but to no avail. And that was it for our disastrous first race. From the highs of running in P4 to the lows of ruining it all with the spin and finishing near the back of the grid.
After this, it was time to reconvene
and exchange some ideas, find out where time was lost and where we were doing well and not so well.
Then, it was time to discuss where we did our dangerous moves and why Vasco spun around in the middle of the track. Next up was Guilherme. First, it was time to slowly get dressed before getting inside the kart. He just couldn't close those damn helmet straps.
Even in the pit, the opposition was much faster.
Bruh.
Even the kart wanted to get away and start the race before Guilherme was ready. Putting the gloves on sure is a great way to make traffic for the karts behind.
He started from second to last. And it's flags out and away we go. Everyone gets off to a decent start, Guilherme is no exception, starting off strong and keeping his position into the straight. Into turn 1, he doesn't allow the driver behind him to overtake him and manages to get out of the corner with a good speed. Into turn 2, he goes into the inside and gets defensive. He prepares the inside line for turn 3 and manages to keep his position alive. After the first lap, Guilherme had already managed to overtake other 2 drivers. Vasco was going in for the second half of the race. First and foremost was time for Vasco to suit up again.
Like a true professional of the sport.
Vasco was so happy with Guilherme's performance, he even clapped when Guilherme came into the pit. And for a great finish to the second race, Vasco was actually able to keep the positions that Guilherme gained. This was amazing for us, since it means our pace is actually not the worst.
João was making these weird signals at me, which I didn't understand and made me quite angry. I made my feelings clear after the race.
And then, Vasco shared some of the things he learned in the track.
And then João tried to win the race in the pits.
After some encouragement from Vasco, it was time for me to get back on the track. Let's go! For the third race, the starting position is given by the average of the finishing positions of the 2 previous races, which means that we started from second to last. Coming in and out of the first corner, I was able to keep up with the drivers in front. Into the second corner, heavy brake is necessary, and I was actually able to not brake too much and keep up with the pack. Into the third corner, I already lost a bit of time, but I was still able to keep up with the drivers in front.
Now it was pit stop time. Learning from our previous mistakes, we made a perfect pit stop. We were actually very proud of this one, with a perfectly timed driver and weight change, and then keeping the pit stop in the minimum time possible.
During the race, Guilherme kept the same position. He didn't overtake, but he also was not overtaken.
After what was a great morning for all of us, everyone was happy.
After all the racing, we shared some ideas and where we all lost and gained some time as to see where we might be able to improve for the next time. That was it for our third race.
We will be back with our next race very soon, so stay tuned. We hope you liked it.